Welcome to South Carolina Championship Wrestling. It's just good. That is our intro for SCCG Palmetto Power Episode 4. This is the Totally Awesome Podcast. My name is Josh again, and I'm joined with...
You know, they say all men are created equal, but you look at me and you look at Samoa Joe, and you can see that statement is not true.
Oh no, it's not the 33 and a fourth chance, is it?
It's a 141 two-thirds chance of Senior Joe Skylar Greenberg showing up here. How you doing, folks?
It is the Bay Area Brawler himself, Skylar Greenberg, straight out of the Court Martial Podcast. Now, normally for this, we would be joined by your Colonial Champion, Sean McCarty, but apparently, his world doesn't revolve around South Kakalaki. So he'll be...
Here's the thing, Joshua. You see, he was going to be here. He was going to record the podcast and bone his girlfriend. But when they got to his house, Chris Jericho was so fat, his ass got stuck in the front door, and she told him there was no way.
This is the worst intro to any show I've ever done, and I love it so much.
Going straight from Scott Steiner to obscure Family Guy references.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, Sean isn't going to be able to make it tonight. It's just going to be me and Skylar, but we have the 4th episode of SCCG Palmetto Power. So, Skylar, so far, we've had the beginning of the championship tournament, which will conclude at the pay-per-view event Sumter Slam. We have a feud started between Piper Niven and Meiko Satamura. And we have that huge feud between Anthony Carelli, Ron Killings, and apparently Primo and Epico against the hardcore wrestlers. So, what are your predictions going into episode 4?
I have no predictions because this is your baby, and I don't know what to expect from you. I'm just here with my ticket, my program, my food, and my overpriced soda here in some shithole Coliseum. And
Thank you. And I'm glad that you called the show my baby because it is suckling from my teat as we speak right now, and I'm dripping a little bit on the monitor as we speak. But anyway, so
where are we actually?
We are at the Winthrop Coliseum, my alma mater, the place where I graduated from. For my
I'm sure they're so disappointed that you went on to become a fake wrestling promoter.
Yeah.
For wrestling events.
What are you using your BA in English for? Well, you see, I have a YouTube show that a couple people might watch.
To talk about wrestling.
Yeah, I have pictures on the screen. I pull the JPEGs and PNG straight from Google Images. Anyway... So yeah, we are live from the Winthrop Coliseum for episode 4 of SCCG Palmetto Power, and we always begin with a recap of the previous episode. Tournament started, feuds are going on, and we have some huge matches tonight, and the show starts with our announced team of good old JR Jim Ross, who still for some reason thinks that this show's WWE and Daniel Bryan's wrestling on it, even though it's not. And we also...
Good luck to him and his skin cancer situation,
I
hope he gets better.
Wait, what?
Yeah, Jim Ross has skin cancer.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's why he's been missing for the last few weeks. He's taking the month of December off so he can go through therapy.
This poor guy just cannot catch a break.
I know. Get well, JR.
Yeah, everyone send your best well wishes, your thoughts, and your prayers to good old JR Jim Ross. And, of course, his announced booth partner, Taz. Once again, the SmackDown 2008 vibe we're going for here. We have a big show tonight. We are going to kick things off with the second match in the SCCG Championship Tournament and the round 1 starting point of the tournament with Ted DiBiase Jr. versus Ron Killings. Later tonight, we also have a women's match, Kaylee Ray versus Tegan Knox. And we also have the next match in the first round of our tournament, Anthony Carelli versus JTG. A match I'm sure Skylar's looking forward to.
It's like you're going back and listing all the 2011 WWE mid-card matches.
You remember Santino versus JTG was JTG's last match in the company, and he went out on a high note, having a seizure when Santino gave him the Cobra.
I don't think that's a high note.
I disagree. That was an amazing sell job.
Believe what you want to believe.
We also have a tag team match, Jurassic Express versus The Bar.
That feels like such That feels like such a weird match. You got the uber serious bar on one side, and then you got the Jurassic Express on the other.
And also, we have some cruiserweight action. The Brian Kendrick versus Zack Sabre Jr.
Oh, so you want Brian Kendrick to get stretched? Is that what you're going to do?
They're going to stretch each other, and it's going to be kind of weird, and the audience is going to be uncomfortable. But anyway.
But enough about Joshua's Friday night.
Oh, yes. We also have another Round 1 tournament match. Braun Strowman versus Tyrus. A big boy match.
You better reinforce the ring for that match.
17 times over.
17 times over.
We also have Bray Wyatt versus Matt-Sydall.
Oh?
And our main event, these two guys are in the tournament. Tetsuya Naito already advanced to the quarterfinals by defeating Nick Gage last week. But John Morrison is later on in the tournament. So we have Tetsuya Naito versus John Morrison in our main event.
What? I mean, that's going to be a good match, but that's interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, just one guy has already made his way to the next round, and another guy is preparing for his first round matchup. So, who can build momentum going on to the tournament? So,
very well.
Throwing things down to ringside with everyone's favorite ring announcer. Oh God, I just forgot it. Justin Roberts.
Oh, you mean the Glitch Bot?
Yes, Glitch Bot himself. So we start off with Ted DiBiase Jr. versus Ron Killings. So Ted DiBiase Jr. comes down to ringside, gets a pretty decent reaction. And remember also in the last episode, he was defeated by on episode 2, he was defeated by Tetsuya Naito because of shenanigans.
Shenaniganery.
And he tried to get his revenge on the third episode, but he got attacked backstage by Los Ingobernables de Japón. However, John Morrison swooped in and saved him. So Ted is out in the ring, and Ron Killings comes out, but he is also flanked by Anthony Carelli, Primo, and Epico. And they're just sauntering down to the ringside area like they own everything. So, of course, Ted is a little concerned because already he has a 4-on-1 disadvantage.
Right, not only does he have to think about Killings, but he has to think about his timeshare, too.
Yes, that is true. And remember, on the last episode, Ron Killings, Primo, Epico, and Carelli laid out Jon Moxley, Sami Callihan, and Nick Gage with steel chair shots. Brutal way to end the last episode. But before the match can even start, after everyone else comes out, Tetsuya Naito and all of Los Ingobernables de Japón also come out the ringside, and there's just a bunch of people surrounding the ring. And Tetsuya Naito is acting like he's about to get involved in the match before it even begins. But then John Morrison jumps the barricade. He gets in the ring, standing shoulder to shoulder with Ted DiBiase. So there's just a whole bunch of people in the ring, and it looks like a huge brawl is about to start.
So hold on. So we got 2 people in the ring and like 8 people outside of it?
Pretty much, yeah. It's a crazy scene.
I don't think John Morrison is not a very smart man.
Well, before fists can be thrown, we hear do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do.
Oh, God.
The SCCG general manager, John Cena, comes out, and he has a microphone. He says, all right, everyone, don't even think about it. We're not going to have all of this crazy nonsense go down for this tournament. It's going to be a straight-up tournament. Whoever wins it, wins it. Whoever loses it, loses it. Just deal with it. Everyone who was not involved in this match, you're banned from ringside. If anyone interferes in this match, you will be suspended. And not an Anthony Carelli suspension where it's like 30 minutes. I'll actually uphold it this time, I promise.
It's 30 days, no pay.
Yes.
All of you get out now. Security, round them up.
And furthermore, the main event, John Morrison versus Tetsuya Naito, everyone is also banned from ringside during that match. So our opening contest and our main event, no one interfere or you are going to get in some serious trouble. So everyone...
Exactly. We have social distancing policies to worry about.
That is true. that is true. So everyone leaves ringside, and John Cena also goes back up. So it is Ted DiBiase Jr. versus Ron Killings, no one at ringside. How long do you think this match will go? And this is a tournament round matchup.
10 minutes.
You are a genius. This match actually goes 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a pretty back-and-forth matchup. And these guys actually had a one-on-one match at Over the Limit 2010 that R-Truth won. So they're having the match, going back and forth. And Ron Killings goes for a roll-up, and he puts his feet on the bottom ropes. 1, 2, but the referee notices it. And the referee starts pushing Ron off of Ted, and he's yelling at, and the ref and Ron Killings are just yelling at each other. But then Ted DiBiase, from behind, nails Ron Killings with Dream Street. 1, 2, 3. Ted DiBiase Jr. wins the match.
But the referee was arguing with the truth. And how can you argue with the truth?
I know. The truth shall set you free unless you're cheating, apparently. So Ted DiBiase Jr. takes advantage of Ron Killings, distracting himself, essentially, because he was trying to cheat to win.
You're really trying to push Ted DiBiase Jr. as being something, huh?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He has so much potential, and they squandered it. Well, he had. And also, Tetsuya Naito comes back out on stage. No, he doesn't come to the ring. He just comes out and does the eye thing at Ted, because the winner of the first match in the first round was Naito. The winner of the second match was Ted DiBiase. That means the first match in the quarterfinals is going to be a rematch between Ted DiBiase Jr. and Tetsuya Naito. Naito's already beaten Ted once. Can he beat him in their rematch later on in the tournament?
We shall find out, I guess.
So, with this, we go commercial break. Domino's Pizza ad. They're our sponsor.
And Nick Gage cuts the pizza up.
Once again. So, we come back from commercial break, and Jon Moxley has a microphone backstage. And he has a bandage on his forehead because he got roughed up pretty bad on the previous episode. And he says, alright, so Primo, Epico, Ron Killings, and Anthony Carelli. You guys think you're pretty tough, huh? Getting cheap shots in on us. I'll give you this. You did beat me and Sami Callihan in our tag team matchup. I can't deny that. But again, you think you're so tough, stabbing people in the back, attacking us from behind. What was all this, we're such good wrestler talk? What is with this, all this, we don't have to stoop down to your level with the hardcore wrestling? You were hitting us with steel chairs. You're just a bunch of hypocrites. And I'm going to issue a challenge right now. I don't know the fate of Anthony Carelli later on in this tournament, so this is not going to involve him. However, since Ron just lost the tournament, I know you're not going to be in the title match at the pay-per-view. So, how about this? Me, Sami Callihan, and Nick Gage versus Primo, Epico, and Ron Killings in a 6-man tag team match at Sumter Slam. Let's see if the three of you can actually face us straight up with no bullshit. And then he walks away. So, we have a challenge issued for the pay-per-view, a 6-man tag team matchup.
It's an interesting tag team matchup. It's the Extremists versus the, what do you call them? What's your name for their stable?
I will have them reveal that in due time, because maybe more people will join this stable.
Okay.
Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
I'm sure you're also trying to figure out trademarking issues. I know the patent office at the U.S. is kind of a bitch right now.
Oh, yeah. So anyway, we go back down to ringside. We have our second contest, Kaylee Ray versus Tegan Knox. And this match goes about 7 minutes. And Tegan has a decent showing, but she goes for the shiniest wizard. She misses it. Kaylee Ray picks her up. Gory bomb, 1, 2, 3. Kaylee Ray with the win.
Solid match. I've seen that match before in real life. It's a good match.
Man, I really wish that I was snacking on something right now. You're making me hungry.
Well, do you want to know what I'm eating?
What are you eating?
Beef tongue.
Beef tongue.
Yes.
I am not hungry anymore. My appetite has flown south for the winter.
Oh, please. Of all the things that I've eaten, that's not the grossest thing, okay?
Alright, we're not going to get it. We're not.
For a guy who constantly tells me to look at his ass, look at it!
That's not the only thing I'd command you to look at, sir. That is not the only thing I command you to look at, good sir.
Whatever.
So anyway, so after the match, Piper Niven comes out to ringside. She is not scheduled for a match, and she does not have wrestling gear on. However, she does grab the microphone. Now remember, Piper Niven is 3-0 here in SCCG. She won on the first episode, then she won that 5-person matchup, And then last week, she defeated Raquel Gonzalez in a one-on-one match.
Yes, and thank you, by the way, for pre-booking my feud.
You are welcome, my good sir. So she has the microphone, and I'm not even going to try to do a Scottish accent, because if you had a chance to change your fate, would you? Anyway, I had to get that out of my system. So Piper Niven says, Meiko Satamura, you are arguably one of the most feared women on the planet, and especially within the confines of professional wrestling. You are the final boss. But not trying to be rude or anything, but you're not exactly a spring chicken. Eventually, you gotta know when it's time for you to step down. I'm the woman that everyone should be afraid of. I am undefeated here in SCCG, and I'm one of the most powerful women on this roster. Yet everyone's afraid of you. I don't care that you knocked out Xia Li with 2 kicks in under a minute. I could do that with my eyes closed. You're no longer impressive, Meiko. You don't deserve the respect that people give you. I do. I'm new, I'm fresh, I'm the one that's exciting. You're old hat. So get off the stage. And with that, Meiko Satamura's music hits, and she walks out. Now, I'm going to be careful how I do this promo with Meiko because I'm not exactly sure how much English she can speak, but the gist of what she says is basically, if you want me one-on-one, then just name a time or place. Basically, she challenges Piper Niven to a match. But again, I'm not going to give her a specific promo, because again, I'm not familiar with how she does promos or how she speaks, if that makes any sense.
She doesn't speak much English. The best you could say is, you want me? Come on!
She's not Shinsuke Nakamura.
What? It works.
But,
you can just do, you want me? You got me.
Yeah, basically she says, you want me? You got me. But before they can come to blows, John Cena once again comes out. He's a busy man tonight. Do. And he says, alright. So, it was inevitable this was going to happen. Piper Niven, you are currently 3-0 here in SCCG, which is very commendable. Meiko Satamura, you are 2-0. So here's what I'm thinking. A champion should be someone who, honestly, is undefeated. Who's the best at what they do. And right now, Piper Niven is the most impressive member of the women's roster. She's 3-0. So, at SummerSlam, Piper Niven will be involved in the SCCG Women's Championship match. However, on the next episode of Palmetto Power, episode 5, Meiko Satamura will be in a matchup. If she wins, and she also becomes 3-0, she will face Piper Niven for the Women's Championship at SummerSlam. So all you gotta do, Meiko Satamura, is win on the next episode, and then you will get your match with Piper Niven for the women's title. And with that, before Piper or Meiko can even respond, Piper hits Meiko from behind, picks her up, Michinoku driver, and she walks out. The disrespect by Piper Niven.
Disrespect to the final boss. Boo her.
Boo her.
This woman. Boo. By the way, do you want to know how they're booking her right now with WWE?
Piper Niven, you mean Dewdrop?
Well, first off, fuck that name.
Oh, God.
But second, they're booking her in the Nia Jax big woman heel mode.
I mean, honestly, she could pull it off, and she would hurt less people for real.
Exactly, because she actually is a good wrestler. Mm-hmm. But enough about dissing Nia Jax, who's not even wrestling anymore.
Thank God! So, what do you think of the prospect of a Piper Niven versus Meiko Satamura championship feud?
It's an interesting position, especially because right now you have Piper Niven. This is basically her turning heel, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Who is Meiko Satamura going to wrestle? Who's the number one contender matchup going to be against?
We will see. We will just have to see.
Because it's not confirmed yet. She has to win that match.
Agreed. And I believe that later tonight we will find this out.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, fickle, fickle.
Yes. Fickle. So anyway, we go to commercial, come back. Third match of the night, Anthony Carelli versus JTG, South Carolina Championship Grappling Tournament matchup, round 1. How long do you think this match goes, Skylar? You sound so just unimpressed.
6 minutes.
It goes 4 minutes.
I should have gone less then.
Carelli dominates, and he puts away JTG with the Carelli bomb, which is basically the Uragi, the sit-out Uragi that it's the
Uranagi.
Yeah, that's what I just said. Remember the redneck bomb? I think it was Lance Cade that did it.
Okay, hold on. Are we talking Uranagi or Uragi?
Both, yes.
Because I have to talk about the way I pronounce it.
Yeah, I'm never gonna let it go, Skylar, because it's just too wonderful.
I know you're never gonna let it go, and I'm never gonna let it go either.
So yeah, Anthony Carelli moves on to the quarterfinals of the championship tournament, and he's booed as he's leaving because everyone hates him.
Well, I mean, you had to have him win after you have Ron the Truth Killings lose.
Absolutely.
Even if it was a screwy finish, you had to have him lose.
Yeah.
You had to have Anthony win.
Of course. And he just demolished JTG. JTG barely got any offense in.
Right, like, sorry, JTG, maybe you'll do well in your next match. Maybe,
yeah.
Perhaps.
Hey, you didn't have a seizure to the Cobra this time.
You didn't even use the Cobra.
You didn't even need to. So, speaking of Anthony Carelli, his new allies, I guess, Primo and Epico, are backstage with Todd Grisham. Todd Grisham obviously asks, so, Primo and Epico, why, I think it's the obvious question, but why have you joined the duo of Anthony Carelli and Ron Killings? Do you agree with their message? Primo and Epico respond, pretty much, yeah. I mean, wrestling has lost a lot of its value. A lot of people have turned it into a circus. I mean, originally it was a circus, but it's supposed to be a serious thing. You shouldn't be embarrassed to tell people, I'm a professional wrestler, or I even like professional wrestling. Because nowadays, if you do that, people will watch a match where people just use thumbtacks and barbed wire, and they're like, why do you like this weird stuff? Wrestling isn't torture porn. And besides, of course we relate to Anthony. And of course we relate to Ron. The last company we were in, when we weren't timeshare salesmen or real estate entrepreneurs or whatever that was, they dressed us up as bullfighters because Hispanic. That's what it's like working for a 75-year-old man that's completely out of touch. Dressed us up as bullfighters just because we were Latino. It's not cool. And it's never going to be cool. And the worst part is the stupid little bull that we were forced to work with was more popular than we were. Of course we resonate. Of course that message that Ron and Anthony are preaching about. Of course we resonate with that. So naturally, me, Primo, we have joined them, and we are going to dominate SCCG. We're going to bring the seriousness back to professional wrestling. No more of this goofy ECW-esque violence. No more of this CZW crap. No more of the tea time goofy crap. This is not a PG show, and this is not torture porn. This is pro wrestling, and we're bringing the seriousness back to it. And then they walk away.
It's a good promo. I'm not gonna say anything bad about it. It's just one of those promos that I feel like we get every few years.
Yeah.
From someone. I mean, it's not bad. It's just, you get tired of that promo after a while.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring the seriousness back in wrestling.
Yeah.
Wrestling needs to be serious and shit.
Yeah. So, but they have officially joined Ron Killings and Anthony Carelli, and I do feel like it makes sense because it is kind of what they were so not taken seriously in WWE, even though they were pretty.
Look at the four people we're talking about. It's Santino Marella, R-Truth, and two people who used to be matadors and then became real estate agents.
WWE, ladies and gentlemen.
Gimmick, torture, death for the mid-10s.
Thanks, Bruce Pritchard. Thank you so much.
We all know it's Vince, though. He
that too.
Goofy shit.
That too. Thank you, Vince and Bruce. But anyway, up next we have our fourth matchup, Jurassic Express versus The Bar. Your predictions for this tag team matchup?
Bar massacres them and then rips off Jungle Boy's hair.
And beats him with it.
This
match goes 12 minutes. It is a decent back and forth match. However, at a point, a lot of them get knocked to the outside. And the legal people are Sheamus and Luchasaurus. However, when Sheamus made the tag, he was not aware that Sheamus made the tag to Cesaro. It wasn't a backslap tag. They just tagged, and Luchasaurus was unaware. So, Cesaro was on the outside, and Luchasaurus hits him with a moonsault to the outside. So, very impressive Asai moonsault, and Cesaro, he's big and strong. He can catch him, so it's not super dangerous. But Luchasaurus gets back in the ring. Sheamus bro kicks his head off. 1, 2, 3. The Bar wins.
Okay, yay, woo!
So The Bar with an impressive win over the Jurassic Express here tonight on SCCG in a pretty lengthy tag team matchup.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Oh, yeah. And so up next we have another backstage interview. Todd Grisham says, joining me this time, Tyrus. Tyrus walks up to the microphone and Todd Grisham says, so Tyrus, you are going up against another man who is an absolute monster. In this gigantic Clash of the Titans later tonight, what makes you better than Braun Strowman? How are you going to defeat Braun Strowman later tonight? And Tyrus, before he can even answer, he's interrupted by Ron Killings.
Ooh.
Ron Killings says, I hate to cut you off before you even say anything, but Todd, we don't need you anymore. You can just hand me the microphone and leave. And Todd hands Ron the microphone and leaves. Just scampers away.
Hey, do me a favor, kid. Give me that microphone and go get yourself a coffee.
Yeah. So Ron has the microphone. He says, so, as I'm sure you know, me, my boy Anthony Carelli, and my other boys at Primo and Epico, we've been building a bit of a new thing here in SCCG. We're trying to take things back to the good old days. We're trying to make names for ourselves at the expense of people that have screwed us over in the past and people that are making clowns out of themselves today. And honestly, you fit into that category, Tyrus. Do you remember what you used to be in other companies? You were a dancing dinosaur, remember? How'd that make you feel, Tyrus? Did you enjoy doing that? Sure, it paid well, but those days are over with, man. I feel the pain. I feel the frustration. So tell you what. Why don't you join us? And we can beat everyone's ass and make everyone pay for not taking us seriously. Offers on the table, Tyrus. Join us, and we'll make it worth your while. Hands the microphone to Tyrus, and Tyrus says, well, I appreciate the offer, but I really don't care to be reminded of that period of my life. And honestly, that's kind of none of your business. But I'll tell you what. I have a match later tonight that is going to be taking up my time. That's what I'm focused on right now. I'm not saying yes, I'm not saying no, but I'll definitely think about it. So Tyrus walks away, and they zoom in on Ron Killings, and we cut to commercial.
Right, unless the thing that you want to be most remembered for is being from Planet Funk.
Brodus frickin' Clay. So, Brodus Clay contemplating joining Anthony Carelli, Ron Killings, and the Colognes.
Which is probably a good thing, because if you think about those four for a second, it's four skinny guys.
Yeah, you need some muscle.
They're serious. They want to kick everyone's ass, but they're skinny. You need a little bit of muscle.
I mean, you have the MMA guy in Anthony Carelli. You have the high-flying tag team in the Colognes. You have the more the older veteran street fighter in Ron. Now, if Tyrus joins, you have the muscle. You have the powerhouse.
Give him that muscle.
Oh yeah. So anyway, when we come,
muscle or fat, whichever one it looks like.
He's a big boy. He's a big boy that Sean McCarty is not a big fan of.
Just because he's...
He's kind of a dick in real life. I acknowledge that, but still, that doesn't mean he can't be useful.
Whatever you say.
So we're back from commercial. Now we have our cruiserweight matchup: the Brian Kendrick versus Zack Sabre Jr. And this match goes 15 minutes. It is a mat wrestling clinic. However, the Brian Kendrick is just a step slower than Zack Sabre Jr. because, again, Brian Kendrick is starting to get up there in age. He's a veteran, and he's starting to use veteran tricks to stay in the matchup with Zack Sabre Jr., but Zack Sabre Jr. at a point is just wrestling circles around him. But the Brian Kendrick is doing everything he can to keep up. So at a point, the Brian Kendrick nails that beautiful flying kick that he does, that flying heel kick, and he sets up for sliced bread number 2. But when he does the flip out of the corner, Zack Sabre Jr. counters it, puts him on the ground, small package, 1-2. Brian Kendrick reverses it into his own small package. 1-2. Zack Sabre Jr. kicks out. Kendrick goes for a victory roll, but Zack Sabre Jr. counters it with that... You remember that weird victory roll that he does with his legs called the prawn hold?
Oh, that one?
Yeah, he counters it with that. 1, 2, 3. Zack Sabre Jr. wins.
Alrighty.
And honestly, I would love to see an actual match between these two.
I'm sure they've wrestled before.
I hope so. I have some YouTubing after this show.
I'm sure they do have matches against each other. You just have to find it.
Oh, yeah.
But that's the thing about Zack Sabre Jr. He's the guy who... He's not flashy, but he can beat you in 100 different ways.
The prawn hold is one of the most insanely awesome-looking pinning combinations I've ever seen.
Like, when he wrestled against Noam Dar in the Cruiserweight Classic, and he did a Rings of Saturn, except instead of using his hands, he used his legs.
That was so awesome.
That was so awesome because Dar had been beating up his arm since the beginning.
And then he starts headbutting his shoulder.
Oh, yeah.
I love Zack Sabre Jr. He's the best.
He is. It's just unfortunate that, in hindsight, it's probably for the best that he didn't end up wrestling with WWE. Because, look at the Cruiserweight division now.
Oh, yeah. It barely even exists now. Is the Cruiserweight title even still a thing in WWE? I know it was on NXT.
It's still on NXT. Currently, it belongs to Roddy Strong. I'm not sure if that means much to you.
It's NXT 2.0, so not my cup of tea. And did you even watch not even Takeover? It's not. You can't even say Takeover anymore. Did you watch War Games?
I've stopped watching it. It's just, I can't watch.
It's sad, honestly. Like the best thing WWE had going for it, and they just nuked it and gave Triple H a heart attack.
Yeah, and now Nick Khan's gonna take over.
So anyway, during commercial, we have a hype video for episode 5, which includes Meiko Satamura versus Kaylee Ray, who won earlier tonight. So if Meiko Satamura defeats Kaylee Ray, she will be challenging Piper Niven for the women's title. But if Kaylee Ray wins, she will be in that match.
That's an interesting matchup, and those two, they have history.
Oh, yeah. Didn't Meiko Satamura beat Kaylee Ray for the UK women's title?
After Kaylee Ray was the longest ever reigning UK women's champion.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Kaylee Ray had a ridiculous reign, partially because, of course, COVID.
Yeah.
But she held that title for the longest amount of time. It was like 500 days or so. No, 649 days.
Jeez, that is insane. And also, on episode 5, I'm looking through my notes real quick. I'm trying to find something. Here it is. All right. So, also on the next episode, aside from that women's match, we have a tag team match next on the next episode. Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander versus Los Ingobernables de Japón. Which, of course, is Evil and Sonata.
East meets West in that type of match.
Easy for you to say.
No, it's not.
East meets West. So how far as the East is from the West?
Combine West and East to make yeast.
So it's a West infection.
It's a West infection.
What is wrong with us?
That's why Sean couldn't be here. He got a West infection.
Oh, God. We're going to get an earful of it when this episode drops.
Oh, please. I can razz Sean whenever I want. You want me to do it right now?
Go ahead.
Sean McCarty is so bald, if you took all the hair he has left on his head, you could make a little bit of a mustache on a dog.
That's such a weirdly specific insult.
But I know it will get to him.
And also, we have the second half of the SCCG Championship Tournament, the second half of the first round on Episode 5, which of course is Okada versus Ziggler, Morrison versus Ishii,
Okay.
Kenny Omega versus Zack Sabre Jr., and Samoa Joe versus Will Ospreay.
What?
It's a strange tournament, I'm aware. Speaking of tournament and weirdness, up next we have our sixth match of the night. Braun Strowman versus Tyrus. Championship Tournament Round 1 matchup. Who you got, Skylar, and how long does this match go?
Braun Strowman, 8 minutes.
It actually does go 8 minutes. And it's a big boy match. They're just powering each other around the ring. But at a point, it spills to the outside. The referee is counting. And they slam each other at the same time right through the barricade. So we have a barricade break spot.
No, don't do it.
And the referee counts to 10. We have a double count out. Strowman and Tyrus are counted out. But the fight continues. They're just going at it even though the match is already over. Tyrus tries to charge Braun Strowman, but Braun Strowman moves and Tyrus bounces off the ringside steps. And Braun Strowman picks Tyrus up and gives him a running power slam through our announce table. Poor JR and Taz having to leap out of harm's way.
Well, I would, because those guys slammed that table so hard they caused a mini earthquake.
Oh, yeah. Millions of casualties.
Millions of casualties.
So,
in South Kakalaki.
And man, the poor Winthrop University just had an earthquake. But yeah,
See,
so
Joshua, this is what you did. You just caused millions of dollars of damage at your own alma mater.
I don't even care. I graduated. I don't care. It matters to me not. I didn't get a college ring. I didn't even get a high school ring.
What, you don't want to go watch the Winthrop Eagles men's basketball team?
No, I didn't even know that we were the Winthrop Eagles until just now.
Go Eagles.
Oh God. I did know that. I just pushed it out of my brain. So yeah, Braun Strowman, even though it is a draw, he's standing tall over Tyrus and Tyrus is down. And you know what that means? The winner of this match was going to face Anthony Carelli in the next round of the tournament. So Anthony Carelli already has a bye-in to the semifinals.
Oh, good for him.
Anthony Carelli getting awful lucky with this finish.
And also avoiding 2 very big men.
Oh, yeah. So anyway, up next, we go to commercial and when we come back, another backstage promo, Todd Grisham. Joining me at this time, Ted DiBiase Jr. and one of the competitors in our main event tonight, John Morrison. And they walk up. First of all, Ted, congratulations on your victory earlier tonight. You're moving on to the quarterfinals of the tournament, and you'll be facing off against, apparently your rival at this point, Tetsuya Naito. And Ted's just like, yeah, I mean, it was close, but, I mean, Ron was trying to cheat. He got caught by the referee, good officiating by our referee. And he took his eye off the ball. I took advantage. That's what you got to do, man. You can't take your eye off the ball for 1 second or you'll lose, especially. It takes 3 seconds to lose, and I know that I learned that the hard way on episode 2. And the referee is very important. The referee did not see the low blow that Tetsuya gave me in our matchup, and that cost me. But now I get a chance for redemption. And this time, Tetsuya Naito, I'm going to beat you the way I should have beaten you on episode 2. And I'm going to move on, and I'm going to become the South Carolina Championship Grappling World Heavyweight Champion at Sumter Slam. And John Morrison cuts in and says, well, I mean, I'm in the tournament too, you know, but I have no doubt that you're going to go far in this thing. And hey, if we meet each other at the end of the tournament, it'll be a hell of a match, and may the best man win. And Ted DiBiase and John Morrison shake hands because they're friends. And John Morrison says, now as far as my opponent for tonight, Tetsuya Naito, I'm going to be watching out. This is going to sound weird, but I'm going to be watching out for low blows tonight. You're going to have to reach into your arsenal. You use that to get an unfair victory over my man Ted here, and then you tried to beat him up with your gang, but your gang is not going to be a factor tonight. They're banned from ringside. It's just going to be me and you, Tetsuya. You're not going to be able to cheat like last time. You're not going to be able to defeat the Friday Night Delight, even though it's not Friday night.
It'll be Friday night when you post this.
Perhaps. So Tetsuya Naito, so Ted DiBiase and John Morrison leave, and we go back to ringside. Up next, we have our...
Hold on, 1 second. Imagine how much of a better friend Ted DiBiase Jr. is than The Miz for John Morrison.
Yeah.
That's a weird... In the future, that's a weird, interesting tag team I want to see.
Oh, yeah. And they would also have, like, great matches against each other, I would feel like.
Yep.
They were both so underutilized in WWE, especially John Morrison. It's criminal.
Well, now he's free to do whatever he wants. Just cough, AEW, cough, cough.
I hope he just doesn't bring his dripstick to AEW. Do you think he would call himself... Would he call himself Johnny Dynamite?
Or Johnny Rampage?
Oh, man. It's going to be one of those two.
Watch him call himself Johnny Khan.
Or Johnny Elite.
No, not Johnny Elite.
Johnny Elite!
Can we call Johnny D-Elite?
He's not related to the Hardy Brothers.
That we know of.
This is true. He does high fly a lot.
Yes, and he does have DUIs. Oh, wait.
Oh, no. Oh, too soon. Too soon.
Actually, I don't think John Morrison has any DUIs.
I don't know. But anyway, we go back to ringside. It is time for our 7th matchup. Bray Wyatt versus Matt-Sydall. Now, in the previous episode, Bray Wyatt said on Camp Firefly that he would be in action, but which version of him would we see? So Matt-Sydall comes out, and Bray Wyatt makes him wait a minute. And then Swamp Bray Wyatt comes out. So it's standard Bray Wyatt. It's not The Fiend, and it's not the Mr. Rogers weird Bray Wyatt.
It's just a man who has the whole world in his hands. He has the whole wide world in his hands.
He's got South Kakalaki in his hands. He's got my sister in his hand. Anyway.
Please.
Oh, that
you
was...
don't even have a sister.
I wish Alex was my sister.
You sometimes dress up as a girl, but whatever.
I'm so glad you didn't hear what I just said.
What did you just say?
I said I wish he was my sister. This just got uncomfortable.
Well, at least if he was at least if your brother was a sister, he'd be more manly.
Anyway, moving on.
I don't even know Alex, but I feel bad for trashing him. Sorry, Alex.
I feel more sorry for him that he's my brother than anything else. That he has to put up with my shenanigans.
That too.
So we have Bray Wyatt versus Matt-Sydall. This goes 4 minutes. Bray Wyatt demolishes him. Sister Abigail, 1, 2, 3.
Aren't you glad I gave you him?
Oh yeah. 3 faces of Bray Wyatt is not trying to pat myself on the back, but I feel like that was a decent idea.
Hey, that Mick Foley comparison has been made a lot. So.
Oh yeah. But then Bray Wyatt grabs the microphone.
Oh?
And he says, it feels good just destroying someone. It's so invigorating. Just being able to let loose like that. And I have a new opponent in mind. Boys and girls, do you want to know who I want to face next? At Sumter Slam, ladies and gentlemen, I have a little bit of an announcement. There was someone on the last episode of SCCG Palmetto Power that said that they wanted to be challenged. They wanted a match. I am the answer to your prayers, little one. -1. Me and you at Sumter Slam. What do you say? And that's the end of that segment.
You're not actually doing that, are you?
I am actually going to do Bray Wyatt versus -1 at Sumter Slam.
Oh. You are... Next match.
Can you breathe, Skylar? Do you need a second?
No, I'm good. It's just... God damn it.
Sean gave him to me, so...
Sean gave you him, okay? I have nothing to do with it.
Well, you gave me Bray Wyatt.
So what? This is mine and Sean's idea. I didn't expect you to wrestle him against a 9-year-old.
Oh, God. Sean is going to be so concerned when he listens to this episode.
Oh, God.
But anyway, it is time for our main event, ladies and gentlemen. Tetsuya Naito versus John Morrison. Skylar, your predictions.
Morrison in 15.
The match goes 18 minutes. The match is even amongst both competitors. It's a high-flying affair. Both guys are very impressive. Crowd's going wild. However, Tetsuya Naito, worried that he's going to lose, he exposes the turnbuckle. But the ref, he sees this, starts yelling at him, tries to put turnbuckle bat on. But while the ref is distracted, Tetsuya Naito pokes John Morrison right in the eyes. And he goes for the schoolboy roll-up, and he has the tights. 1, 2, but John Morrison kicks out. And Tetsuya Naito's frustrated. And because the referee went back over to the cover, the turnbuckle is still exposed. So Tetsuya Naito sets up for Destino, but when he goes for the flip, John Morrison shoves him off, and Tetsuya Naito goes face first into the exposed turnbuckle that he undid. So he bounces out of the corner. John Morrison kick to the gut. Moonlight drive. 1, 2, 3. John Morrison wins the main event.
What's the Moonlight Drive?
It's that spinning neckbreaker that he used to use as a finishing move.
You're not doing Starship Pain?
Remember, on episode 2, he defeated Kenny Omega with this move, and he defeated Braun Strowman with it on the last episode from the second rope. I want to kind of get away from him using Starship Pain because it rarely looks good. He barely lands it. And I just want him to have a standard finishing move that he could do from pretty much anywhere.
Right, so you can use Starship Pain as like an uber finisher.
Oh, yeah.
Has to in a super big match time.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, John Morrison wins the main event. And this is his second main event win here on SCCG. He won against Kenny Omega on episode 2. And he defeated Tetsuya Naito here tonight. And on the last episode, he defeated Braun Strowman. So John Morrison's on a roll. And he's in the first round on the next episode against Tomohiro Ishii.
Wait, first round or quarterfinal?
Well, he's in the second half of the first round is on the next episode. We've just completed the first half. And and Sumter Slam, the pay-per-view, is going to be after episode 7 of Palmetto Power.
Okay, gotcha.
So Ted DiBiase Jr. comes out, raises his hand in victory, but then Tomohiro Ishii comes out, and they have a stare down, and that's how we close the show.
Right, you have stare down in English and stare down in Japanese.
Oh, yeah. So, Skylar, what are your thoughts on the 4th episode of SCCG Palmetto Power?
I feel like with this episode, you have to do a lot of world building, but that's fine because you need to do the world building before you get to the big stuff. There's a lot of good stuff on the show. It's interesting that a lot of your roster is just a bunch of rejects that you're trying to use in different ways.
I'm trying to give certain people a second chance.
Well, not just a second chance, but you're trying to reimagine what they could be.
Honestly, some of these people, it's like I'm giving them a first chance.
Right, because some of them never really got a chance.
Yeah. And then we have JTG.
Long-term game.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm sure you're going to need a mid-card title. You'll probably need tag team titles. You'll even need, maybe a TV title at some point.
And also, again, remember, at Sumter Slam, there will be an internet title match. The SCCG internet title will be the secondary title. And the losers of the semifinals, they will go one-on-one to determine the secondary champions. Because I feel like the runners-up should get the runner-up belt. Or at least that's how it makes sense to me. And I also have the 2 undefeated women possibly going for the women's title.
Well, I mean, it's 1 undefeated woman so far. And
that is true.
Piper Niven, and 2 ladies who are 2-0 and will become 3-0 after next week.
Oh, yeah. So we will just have to see.
But good stuff. Good world building. I look forward to the next show, and hopefully Sean will be here too when he's not busy trying to bone his girlfriend.
With his yeast infection.
But she tells him there was no way.
No way. You have a yeast infection.
I don't want to do that. Your chances of having sex with me are like wrestling against Samoa Joe at Sacrifice.
Why are we back to this? You have a 23 and a third chance of having a yeast infection? Anyway, thank you guys.
We just both that line at the same time. time?
I feel like it. I feel like we said the same thing at the same time because we're both equally stupid. But anyway,
that's the greatest promo of our time.
That is true. It is the greatest promo ever. Thank you guys so much for listening to the 4th episode of SCCG. Tune in for the next episode of the Court Martial podcast. I believe there's some major stuff actually went down the day we recorded this, so be looking out for the next episode of the Court Martial podcast. Go like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for joining, and we will see you guys next time. Good night, everybody.
Through the coldest shoulder, my spikes go through boulders. That's why